Hi everyone, this is Off to Battle, and somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago to take a look at if Carrion were still completely useless. So I'm looking into that today, and this is just a battle that I recorded, just a little bit of fooling around. Because I haven't been playing as much, and that's partly an issue of just my job circumstances and other things like Dark Tides coming up. I'm going to be getting into that more and more. But basically just schedule circumstances. This is a small Skaven settlement garrison, so nothing too extraordinary here. I'm just giving a little bit of a demonstration of what I can do. And I have blue as the color here to differentiate from all the green that we see with all this stuff here. Because Skaven settlement, there's going to be lots and lots of green, of course. So what you see here is that I'm trying to isolate this Knights Runner Slings unit, and I don't have a clean shot at them because the Carrion are large. So the spears here are an actual serious threat to them, and I didn't want to get too much going there. And I just had very, very loose commands here going just to take care of the clan rat summons there, and I wanted to engage with my infantry before I got too creative with getting ahead of myself and getting the night runners. Now, the thing about these Carrion in their current incarnation is that trying to get to show here, but yeah, 26 melee attack, 46 melee defense, and they are actually large. So I'm using them here purely to do rear charges and causing morale shocks, if at all possible. But the problem I had in the battles prior to this one here is that they're just fairly hard to keep alive because you have to micro them and you're not getting the bang for the buck for the micro that you're doing. So it's hard to leave them in melee and have them stay alive for too long. But the bottom line is that there's just not too big a deal here. You just do rear charges from the air over and over again, and you let them do work. But of course, that only works if you have something to hit them in the front, or you're using the carrion to hit something in the front, and you'd have something like cavalry to hit them in the rear. But I didn't have that with my secondary army. I had a little bit of that in my Kalita army, but I did not with my secondary Tomb King army. So you see here that this is whittling down the morale on this end. And I was trying to use carrion. I mean, you just don't want to charge spears from the front, but charging things from the back, totally fine. And here we have the other Night Runner unit. And at this point, things are wanting to break all over the place. So we're just trying to encourage them, or rather discourage them from fighting us any further. But we're just not in a dangerous position here. We're using the carrion in order to help, in order to produce morale shocks to a certain extent, and just move them around, trying to help out everywhere that looks good for them to help out. So here, instead of charging them in from the front, we're trying to fly them over and just hit them from the rear. And that's exactly what we are trying to do. So at this point in the battle, I was able to get pretty decent results like this. So, yeah, the bottom line is that they are not completely useless, they're just hard to keep alive, considering that they don't cost you any money if you actually have space in your army for them, if you're not costing yourself, and this is just kind of a mess, so I'm just doing what I can to catch up my Kalita army and finish off that stuff. I mean, these are fast, and they do fly, but I would say that part of the utility has been lost just because, and here I'm just hitting the fleeing units that have not completely shattered, because I can, because it reduces retaliation. I don't want to take too much damage with them. If I don't lose models, then I will get the full health of the models back after the battle. They won't count as losses. Yeah, it took so long that some of my artillery started firing. Guido was all the way here helping out. So yeah, these Carrion are still around, so I can just help them pick upon weakened targets from the back, from the rear, from the sides, anything that reduces the danger to them. It's just that that low melee attack is a problem. So they're not completely useless. It's just that it would help a lot with this army if it wasn't an infantry army because I'm limited by unit caps at this point in my campaign. But now the army losses are taking hold, and that is basically all she wrote. So thank you very much for watching, and like I said, they're not completely useless. They're just very niche and difficult to get big value out of. But eh, actually, let me run it for just a few moments longer, and you can see the actual monetary value. I say monetary, but yeah, I mean, it's not like they didn't do anything. They got decent value in terms of the damage that they dealt, and they were able to do a lot of their morale reducing attacks from the rear. But basically, if you're not actually in a siege where you have no possibility of getting units into the back of the enemy, except, after 5 minutes of hard slog fighting or tearing down walls, uh, they give you more tactical options if you're actually facing a siege. If you're not, then they're really just very, very light cavalry. And that's okay. But if I had real cavalry to actually function as part of a combined arms force, then it would be a little more useful because they'd be setting up other stuff. So there you have it. Not completely useless, but not a high value unit in the Tomb King's armies.